Hey students, so this video is explaining option number 2 for your color assignment. So option number 1 is your object color wheel, and you are totally welcome to do that option if you wish. That's a great option if you don't have colored pencils, or you just, really like the idea of collecting lots of items. But if you feel like that's too much work, or you're just not up for doing that, reverting back to coloring is totally fine as well. So I'm going to go over how to create a color wheel using just some simple tools and only 6 colors. So we're going to make a color wheel with 12 colors, but you're only going to be using 6 colored pencils. Now it's important that they're colored pencils because colored pencils are much easier to mix, right? You can take yellow and green and mix them together and make a yellow-green by layering. I'm going to show you how to do that. Whereas if you have markers, for example, it's going to be a little bit trickier to mix with markers with the layering. It doesn't show up quite as well. If all you have is markers and you would rather color than create the object color wheel, feel free to do that option if you really want to. That's fine. But I'm hoping that everyone will either be into doing the object color wheel or have some colored pencils available to do this project. So the first thing you're going to do is, this is a regular piece of paper, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a circle. Now you're welcome to just draw a circle freehand with your pencil. That's totally fine, but I personally like a more perfect circle. So I've collected a few objects that are circular that you can use to trace. Okay, so I have a glass here, so I could turn this glass upside down and trace it. I have this roll of masking tape, so I could trace that. And I have this plastic container. I'm just going to go ahead and use this one. So you don't want the circle to be too small because you need 12 sections, and you want to be able to see all of the 12 colors of the color wheel. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace this so that I have a circle in front of me like this. Okay, so this is a really good size. Basically, I wouldn't want you to do anything smaller than this sort of glass size, which is just a little bit smaller than this. So try to think of things that are a little bit larger. You can even do it a little bit bigger than this, but that's also a lot of coloring, so you don't want it too big either. Okay, so something like this. So now we are going to be dividing this circle into 12 sections. It gets a little bit tricky, especially if you don't have a protractor. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You can use a ruler if you want. If you want to make things a little bit more like straight and even, that's fine. I'm not going to use a ruler because I'm just going to show you how to do this without using a ruler. That's fine. It does not have to be perfect. The sections do not have to be completely even. There just should be 12, and I'm just going to show you how to do it approximately as even as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this into quarters. So I'm going to divide it in half first, so just drawing a line straight through the middle. So there are 2 halves, and I'm actually going to rotate the paper and draw a line through the middle the other way. Okay, so now I've got a circle with a cross through it, so I've got 4 sections. Now I want 12, so that means each of these 4 sections need to be divided into 3 sections. So basically, you could think of this little slice of pie here. This needs to be sliced into 3 slices as even as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line here and then cut this in half. There. And now I can just look at this and start and continue this line. So I can do 2 at once. So we can do this line cutting through there and there. Okay, so now I've got 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and I can do the same thing to the other ones. So again, they don't have to be perfectly straight, they don't have to be perfectly even, but you do want them about evenly distributed as much as possible, and definitely have 12. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label the color wheel. So on the Canvas homepage, not homepage, on the Canvas assignment page for this project, I have a picture of a color wheel on there, and it is labeled with all the colors. So you don't have to write out the full name, just put the initial of the name so that you know where it all goes. It's really important when you're creating a color wheel to have all of the colors in the correct order and in the correct placement. So they're not, they should not be all randomly colored. The order is really, really important. You're gonna see why when we start coloring. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with red. I'm just going to put an R for red here, and then I'm going to pick a direction to go. I'm going to go red, orange here. So R, R, O. Next is orange, and then we have yellow, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, green, blue, indigo. You could also write blue violet here, but indigo is the same. Violet and red violet. Okay, so now I've got them labeled. I suggest putting the label on the outside so that you can't see, and if you put it on the inside, like especially for yellow, if I drew a Y right here, when I color yellow over it, I would definitely see that Y. So it's just nicer to have it on the outside, and then you could like erase them later, or up to you, just leave them there. Okay, so now I'm ready to start coloring. So it's pretty easy if you're just doing the color that your colored pencil is. So here I've got a red colored pencil, and I'm just going to color my red section red. Okay, so there we have red in the red section. I'm just going to go ahead and color with the rest of my colors I have here, and then I'm going to show you all how to do the mixture of the two. Okay, so I'm gonna go with orange in the orange section. You're gonna notice that I'm gonna be doing every other one, and then I'm gonna go back in and do the mixing. You don't have to do it in that order, but that's how I'm gonna do it right now. All right, I'm ready to color in orange. Okay, so now you can see I've got 6 colors, the 3 primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue, and then I've also got the 3 secondary colors, which are orange, green, and violet. So I'm ready to go ahead and do the 6 tertiary colors now. So the tertiary colors are our 3rd layer of color, and they're like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, green, indigo, and red, violet. So in order to create those tertiary colors, we need to combine a primary color with a secondary color. So it matters which one though, right? We wouldn't want to take a primary color like red and mix it with green, because then we would get brown. These are opposites on the color wheel, and complementary colors make brown. So we have to pick a secondary color that already has that primary color in it. So red, in order to make a tertiary color with red, we have to either mix it with orange or mix it with violet, because violet has red in it and orange has red in it, right? Orange is created by mixing red and yellow. And then you see it's placed in between those two. That's how we start to learn how these are mixed. And then violet is created by mixing blue and red. I believe in Mr. Burton's class you all did a little bit of color theory, painting, and mixing, so you should understand this and remember a little bit about how to do this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mix red and orange. Now we're using colored pencils, not paint, so that means we need to layer. So I'm going to start with some light layers of... So I'm not pressing super hard for this, coloring very lightly with orange, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the red and also color kind of lightly. And once it starts to look maybe a little too red, then I can switch back to orange and layer it again. And now we start to see this red-orange. Now, if you have a colored pencil set that has a tertiary color in it, like a red-orange already or a blue-green, then feel free to use that. You do not have to mix for each one for this. It's just if you don't have them, then you would have to. Okay, so there's our red-orange mixture. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with our other tertiary colors. Each time we're going to take the secondary color and the primary color on either side to mix that color in the middle. So just like how we know that orange is getting red and yellow mixed together, and because we know that because they're placed in this order on the color wheel, same with tertiary colors where we have the colors on either side create that color. All right, let's go ahead and do some yellow-orange. Okay, so there is my color wheel, all finished, all 12 colors in the correct order. So after you finish coloring this, then you go ahead and take a really good photo of it and submit it for the assignment. So have fun coloring. Again, if you have those colors, that if you've got a yellow, green, or a turquoise or a teal that could go, that's basically blue-green is the same thing. If you got like a magenta that's kind of like red-violet, feel free to use those colors for this. Golden yellow is a good yellow-orange, or there's often like colors that are just called yellow-orange. If it says, indigo might be an actual color, that's one you might have to mix, but just mixing, the violet and blue, or having like a darker violet color as well. So have fun mixing and have fun coloring. Hope you enjoy this assignment. All right, happy coloring.